People tend to believe in miracles. Every time you paid for a lottery ticket, you believed in a miracle. When a serious illness happens to us and to people close to us, no matter how realistic we are, we find solace in the belief that something unexpected will happen that will contribute to healing. Similar beliefs occur during projections of paranormal phenomena. The question is whether miracles are a figment of human imagination or real events that we don't want to consider real because we are indoctrinated in that way. One such testimony that actually happened is the definition of a miracle. On June 26, 2000, the Vatican announced the third secret of Fatima. Allegedly, in the language of symbols, this epistle of the Virgin Mary talks about the persecution of the Church in the 20th century and predicts the assassination of the Pope. It is known that Pope John Paul II escaped death by pure luck or God's help, however you look at it, when the assassin Ali Agia shot the Holy Father on May 13, 1981. However, is this the true content of the message that the appearance of the Mother of God conveyed to the children who saw her in the Portuguese town of Fatima? The Holy See itself led us to confusion with conflicting statements. Back in 1960, the Pope said that he could not publish this secret because it refers to, and I quote, our belief. It was followed up later in 1980, before the actual assassination attempt of Pope John Paul II, by also declaring that the secret cannot be published, so he did not do so even after the assassination attempt. After all, this announcement also remains mysterious, given that the Pope was in mortal danger, but no persecution of the Church took place in the 20th century. The only question left is, what is the Vatican really hiding? But let's deal with the first two secrets. In the first secret, the children allegedly saw hellfire and said, "Our dear Lady showed us a sea of fire that seemed to be in the depths of the earth. Immersed in that fire, we saw the devil and souls, as if it were a transparent, black or brown burning coal in human form." In the second secret, it is stated that a great empire will be destroyed if the lady who appeared is not recognized and respected throughout the world, and if humanity does not finally renounce, as stated, false science. The Vatican interpreted this great empire message as the downfall of the Soviet Union, although in the original text written by the eyewitness Lucia, which we will talk about later, it is not even mentioned anywhere. In the second Fatima secret, it was also announced that a new, terrible world war would break out during the time of Pope Pius XII. And it is said, "When an unknown light shines on you one night, then you will know that is a great sign that God is sending it to us, that for your crimes he will punish the world with war, famine, persecution of the Church and the Holy Father." Let's keep in mind that these secrets were passed on to children who were eyewitnesses to the alleged apparition of the Virgin Mary in 1917. Here, many allude to the Second World War, but the question remains as to what this unknown light is. And I am not sure that the persecution of the Holy Father took place, if, of course, the Pope was meant. All this seems confused and unrelated. But in order to have a complete picture, we will see what really happened in 1917. Fatima, province of Extremadura, Portugal, 1917. From May to October, 3 shepherd children experienced an apparition of Our Lady of the Rosary. Every 13th day of the month, the children excitedly talked about their visions of a woman dressed in white, with a crown of stars around her head. Namely, the supposed Mother of God commanded the children to come to the same place every month on the same day and at the same time. Jacinta Matros, Francisco and Lucia Santos acted on the orders of the depicted woman in white. Over time, led by the children's stories, people from the surrounding fields began to follow the children, but even though they were at the right place at the right time, they failed to see anything. The only thing that suggested that something was happening was the children falling to their knees at a certain moment, and their facial expressions as if they were looking at something and communicating with someone. However, although the children mumbled something, the answer was not heard from the other side, but the children later claimed that they heard the messages in their heads. It was unmistakably telepathy based on what was described. But one day, something completely different happened. The apparition announced to the children that a miracle would happen on a certain day. On the appointed day, October 13, 1917, an incredible 70,000 people gathered at the apparition site. The day was rainy with heavy showers. But quite unexpectedly, at one point, the clouds parted, and the announced miracle began to happen. The sun suddenly started to move to the left and right in the clear and blue sky, and then began to spin around itself at high speed. Incredible shades of color emerged from the sun, and according to the statements of numerous witnesses, the entire landscape was illuminated by what they described as an unearthly light. The sun then stopped in an instant, and after a short break, they started their show from the beginning. And so 3 times in a row. This miracle lasted for almost 12 full minutes and could be seen within a radius of 40 kilometers or 24 miles from the place of occurrence. Numerous journalists who were among the crowd of eyewitnesses called this event the Miracle of the Sun. The event is recorded in photographs that can be seen in the Fatima Basilica, and the place has become one of the most important places of pilgrimage in the world. As for the messages mentioned earlier that the children received from the alleged apparition of the Mother of God, they were written by the only surviving Lucia, who later became a nun in the convent of Saint Teresa of Coimbra. So the other 2 witnesses passed away at an early age, and Sister Lucia handed over the messages she wrote down and enveloped to the Holy See in the Vatican. So the miracle really happened in front of a huge number of eyewitnesses, but the question remains what they actually witnessed and who and for what purpose transmitted telepathic messages to the children. Perhaps only the Vatican knows the answers to these questions.